Hey, I'm going to give some tips on how to do parasite cleanse and why this is so important. We are one of the few countries that actually doesn't have something that regularly deworms us. And a lot of us have pets in our house. We're around animals and we're around humans. There's human to human worms too. And so there's a couple ways, different things you can do. There is the pharmaceutical route. Those have those pros and cons. For quick relief, we've had to use those too. Albenzenol is one, ivermectin, and then they have a list of a couple other things. When dealing with pharmaceuticals, again, you always want to make sure that you're looking at the information sheets, not the ones they include with the prescription, but the ones that are actually, you have to request the pharmacist and they hand it to you and you can look and see if that's a good fit for you. Because again, there's pros and cons with all, more synthetically derived things. So what we have done, we have used both albenzenol and ivermectin. I don't know about the other ones. But it has gotten rid of pinworms, full-grown worms. Now what we have done also to get rid of those types of worms, and I have been to Africa multiple times, come to find out I had some toxin loads there. First we used, which is called diatomaceous earth. I really want to encourage you to look it up and find a good resource of just knowing how to do it. I do have a video on the YouTube channel that shows you how to do it, but really you make sure you don't breathe it in. You want food grade. You want to mix it with water. You need to make sure you're taking 8 to 16 ounces of water. It can dehydrate you if you have things like diverticulitis or colitis, things that your intestines are inflamed. This is not a good option for you. If you're someone that has allergies, this is a good option for you because like herbs can kick up histamines, and those aren't necessarily always your best go-tos. So diatomaceous earth is great. It has silica in it. It helps your hair, skin, and nails as a good benefit. There really is no side effect. Typically, if worms start to die off, you will feel like you have the flu. You might throw up, have a fever, feel achy for about 24 hours. It should not last longer than that. If you have chronic diarrhea, it should help with that. Now, DE is slow acting. So this is, if you need immediate relief, this is not the option for you. If this is something you suspect and you're like, let me try something, this is a good option. So you're gonna do about 1 to 2 teaspoons for kids and 1 to 2 tablespoons for adults. Again, if you struggle with constipation, you're gonna need to pair it with something. We personally use BioCleanse, which helps move things, and I'll get more into that later. If you want to do herbs, there's different things like Nature Sunshine. They have a great herbal cleanse. I know, what is it? Young Living has one that uses essential oils. There's a lot of different companies. What you want to look at is just the pairing of herbs together. Also as helping get it out quickly. The quicker the parasites are able to get out, the less die-off you have to deal with, basically. And let's see, sometimes with parasite cleanses, you do feel worse before you feel better. So that definitely is something that can happen. Make sure you're drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. You want to make sure you're doing electrolytes, boosting your immune system, vitamin C, different things are great. We use Immune Plus. That is fantastic. I do include for my MTHFR people some glutathione potentially because they need some additional antioxidants to help the toxin load of the toxins that parasites release, which is like 80 plus or something as well. So you have herbs, oils, you have DE. You do have homeopathics that you can use. Typically, I like to pair that with a lymphatic drainage type 1 if you suspect your lymph is a little sluggish. I know that helps a lot. You do not have to. Things that really help is greens because you want to support the liver. You do not want to do a liver detox while doing this. You want to do a liver support. Those are two very different things, and they can have similar herbs, but some herbs are going to be very different in detox versus support. And so you have those as just different options that we have. There might be a ton of there out there, but that's what we found most effective. And you do a thing, you have to make sure you get it at one cycle of deworming over a full moon, because that's when parasites detach and breed. Fun times, hence the name lunatic. Think about it. That's actually where it came from. Let's see, the full moon, you'll do 10 days on, 10 days off, 10 days on, 10 days off. DEs, you can adjust it a little differently. Herbs, you definitely want to follow the directions that they say, or the homeopathic thing. We have done multiple different ones. Sometimes I alternate of doing DE and herbs, and so that's really your preference, or if you just want to figure it out. Now, here's another caveat. When you're dealing with parasites, a lot of times people will have reoccurrences. It doesn't mean you're getting rid of them. What happens is, I've done a ton of research on this, is there's like an inch layer of gunk in our gut. Just over time, medications, antibiotics, our amazing Western diet, note the sarcasm. So that just helps the proliferation of parasites. So there's one parasite, it's actually called Candida. It is a yeast overgrowth, and everyone's born with a little bit of it, and a lot of times it overgrows, and it gets too much of our bad bacteria gets killed, and so that one proliferates, and that's something you can look up and research. So because that is there, and this yeast that harbors and is basically able to hide the eggs, and you have the almost about an inch layer of junk in your intestines, and it can vary from person to person, that the eggs, that the parasites, they bury it in there. And so these eggs can hatch the next month, they can hatch months later, they can really, it depends on what types of worms. I think hookworms are they can live up to 3 months. So there's just different things going on. So you need to know that if you suspect worms, or you want to make sure you're getting rid of all the parasites, that you want to have a plan. Typically I would do something over the first year, just have a sort of a plan set out, or 6 months if that feels too much. And then you're going to plan to do it every spring and fall, or winter, summer, 2 times a year. What you want to do is you have to address that Candida that is in there. Now, a lot of people do Candida cleanses and different things like that, but I've worked with a lot of people that have done that, and they have not gotten the results that they really, really needed to basically get that parasite load low enough to help offset if there's any other parasites as well, because so many different reasons. There's additional things you can, detoxes, like different chemicals and metals and stuff, but that I would recommend, don't jump in, research, because when you start to move like heavy metals around in the body, they can land up in major organs. So you just want to make sure you're educated in that. So going back to the intestines, you have that layer, you have that Candida that's harboring the eggs. So what you actually have to do, and we use specifically the Probio 5 because it has enzymes and an antifungal that goes in, and it cracks the outer shell of that yeast, that Candida. It's as hard as a cockroach. So that's why I like doing yeast diets. You have a lot of die-off, but you have to have something that's going in, cracking, killing it off, breaking down, and reseeding at the exact same time, because it is very, very, it's very fast growing. And so this has to sort of happen synergistically to have forward movement to get rid of that Candida and offset, make the numbers go lower in the Candida than it is in, and increase your good beneficial bacteria. So as you do that, we use the Probio 5, but we also use what's called BioCleanse. And it goes in, and it almost has an hydrogen peroxide effect. It is not hydrogen peroxide, but it's an oxygenated form of magnesium that goes in, and it actually starts to clean in between the folds of your intestines. So if you notice, like if you ever have seen intestines, they sort of look like an accordion, like you pull them apart and then they squish back together. And so those folds harbor lots of different things, good things and bad things. And so it's really important to have something that is working towards your gut health to get that junk out, which is including the eggs of those parasites that have been just, putting it in there. But also it helps on a gut health level as well. And so then the BioCleanse comes in and it cleans out basically the garbage. It gets into the folds. It helps alkalize and help increase healing throughout the body by doing that. Now you might need additional support like a greens, like a fermented greens, or you might need a smaller dose of the ProBio 5 and a good like a gentler probiotic. If you have MTHFR, you need to make sure you're using bioavailable methylated chelated multivitamin, because guess what parasites do? They steal your nutrients. They steal your blood. A lot of people who are anemic need to check this out. They cause havoc on a nutritionally, cellular, and nutritional level that I think if this was addressed first, you could more easily address other things later. So just want to let you guys know those tips and tricks. Don't get overwhelmed. Just know, start in one place, start month 1, figuring out which one works better for you and your family. The key is going to be consistency, and then the other key is going to be time. If you don't give them those two things, then it's not going to work. And it can create chronic health problems down the road. So let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out to the person who shared this video, but it's really important. It actually adds a lot. Let me tell you, it may seem gross and just like creepy, but I'm going to tell you, it does not help you not addressing this. It is harming you. The lack of knowledge and the lack of not getting those things out will be negatively impactful for your health down the road. So if you think you should do it. And even if it's hard, you can do hard things, even if it's gross, because I've seen lowering anxiety in our family. I've seen better gut health. I've seen chronic pain and inflammation go down. Mood swings and meltdowns for kids. Hello, guys. Yeah, we don't need to medicate those things if they're driven by parasites. We need to get those suckers out of our kids. So feel free, share this, and I hope you guys have a great day. All right, bye.